Well, thank you, Congressman Garcia. He just said something that really struck with me as he reflects on people he served with who lost their lives due to PTSD. I've actually known more people in the military who have lost their lives due to PTSD than have lost their lives in combat. And when we were deciding whether or not to create a program like this, and we created a Veterans Advisory Panel to design the proposal, one of the members was someone named John Jennings. And right before we had our first meeting, John lost his battle due to PTSD. And we named it the John P. Jennings Veterans Advisory Panel. But these stories for many post 9/11 veterans, and it was called something else in decades and generations past. It seems like each time that there's been a conflict, it's had a different name. So many veterans have been impacted, actually losing more friends due to PTSD than in combat. My colleague from New York, Chris Jacobs, who is a co-sponsor of H.R. 1476, comes from a part of the state that I actually had just visited. They have successful Dwyer models now in his region too, and veterans of all generations and proud veteran supporters all throughout Chris Jacobs' district looking to find ways to tell the story of how the Dwyer program is working for them, and in other areas looking for ways to expand it to go further. And every minute since he's been here, Chris Jacobs has been an outstanding leader for our veteran community. And of course, he's co-sponsoring this legislation because he doesn't waste any opportunity to do everything in his power to help fight for vets. So at this time, I'd like to introduce my friend, turn it over to Congressman Chris Jacobs of New York.
Thank you, Congressman, and thank you for your service and sacrifice to our country. I rise today in support as well of H.R. 1476 to allocate more resources to our Army, or to our American heroes struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injury. Mr. Speaker, as we become more aware of mental health, we must ensure that we make every possible effort to help those who served our nation and are now struggling. It is estimated that 11 to 20% of veterans suffer from PTSD, and almost 500,000 veterans have suffered from TBI in the past 20 years. These injuries were incurred protecting our nation and defending our freedoms across numerous wars. Certainly, this conversation surrounding mental health has gained a new national spotlight in the past number of months as veterans witness the chaotic and reckless withdrawal from Afghanistan. My office has received numerous calls from veterans in my district who are deeply disturbed by the events we have witnessed, and many are experiencing new grief and pain. Similarly, it was reported that the Veterans Crisis Hotline saw a recent surge in both texts and calls from veterans struggling with mental health around the nation. There's no greater honor there's no greater honor as an act of selflessness than to sign up and serve our nation in the military. We have a moral and sworn obligation to protect those that sacrificed protecting us, and we have an obligation to ensure any veteran can access the resources they need. I proudly co-sponsored the PFC Joseph Dwyer Peer Support Program Act as one solution to this complex problem, and I would say I knew full well how well this program operated as a member of the State Senate, trying to carry on the great work and the creation of Congressman Zeldin when he was in the State Senate. I want to thank him for his leadership on this issue and carrying this forward to the federal level so more areas can benefit from it. Supporting our veterans is a bipartisan issue we can all get behind. There is no room to debate this issue, only room for action to help our American heroes. I urge my colleagues to join me in co-sponsoring 1476, and I urge this body to move efficiently to provide more mental health and brain injury resources to hundreds of thousands of veterans across the nation who desperately need it. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I yield back.
Thank